Glory to that kind.
Welcome back to Dat Shorts. I'm Shades, and today I want to take a look at Erokin by Anduo Games. Now, you've probably heard of Anduo Games because we've talked about them before. They're the creators behind Third Crisis and Rosas are Red, and now they're working on this 3D sex adventure, Erokin. To be honest with you, it kind of gets my goat that they haven't even started First Crisis or Second Crisis, but yeah, you do you. You play a mercenary named Alda, who for some bizarre reason has a succubus named Darla trapped in her head. It's kind of a sort of a yin and yang style thing, where you as the character are more of the wholesome type, whereas Darla will help you give in to temptation. Sucking ding dong and eating cat. The town of Gateston, I should have learned how to speak at school. Where this entire town is completely corrupt by a sexual church.
What do you want?
I say cult, and when I say cult, I mean more like sex dungeon, because when you think about it, a lot of the guys are getting these little fucking tattoos of like, you know, fucking crosses on their dicks and shit, and then chicks are coming in and they're like, oh, praise. You know, religious stuff. So the game instantly gives you the idea of, do you succumb to the desires or do you fight against the church? And to be honest with you, as we're playing lewd games, there are going to be a lot of times that we're going to slip into some debauchery. And Anduo Games were kind enough to give me a Patreon exclusive build of the game to check out. I'll be honest with you, I was quite impressed out of the box. Anyway, so you arrive in the fucking hell. I'll be honest with you, straight away when I rocked up into the fucking town, it was very fucking bright. I will say one of the things that did bug me about this game is the giant fucking bloom. Now, I know I've seen some of the footage where it does show that the game can actually get the bloom right, but holy shit, I almost had to put on a second pair of shades just to see the fucking courtyard. Sometimes it's just a little bit too bright. As we arrive in town, we're heading to the Serpent's Guild, though there are a lot of things that can distract you. Specifically, the stuff in the church. You actually have to pass through the church in order to get to the Serpent's Guild in the center of town. And holy crap, there are a lot of fucking sex scenes going on in this game. I will say, when it comes to sex games, the idea is straight out of the gate, in order to sell me for a sex game, you should definitely show the sex scenes very early on. And they do that in the game. Now, there are side missions and other things that you can do, such as going into the church and finding a private room to pleasure yourself, or even an alleyway, which I found some sexual toys which I was able to explore. One of the paths that I did go down was I actually committed a crime by drinking this thing called Melt. Send her to the sex dungeon! Melt's kind of like Soulstorm Brew from Abe's Exodus. Once you start drinking that shit, you can't stop.
What is it? Don't think. Drink.
They're more like they will die if they don't drink it. Whereas this chick, she's basically like, I need to fucking squirt, give me the melt. You now have to be locked up in this prison and serve your sentence by basically being a sex slave to Lamar. Hey, come suck this king dingaling! And there are a lot of sexy scenes that happen in here. Though to be honest with you, I kind of found it a little bit bizarre that Darla didn't actually take over. She does take over in some of the other scenes, but in these particular scenes with the melt, I kind of thought Darla would have been present. But you're just kind of left with Alda, which is weird because she, even though gets addicted to the melt, you would think Darla would also be kind of talking about the melt as well. You can tell that obviously it is still in its early access stages, so there are little bits of clipping and bits of model that need to be fixed, some of the mouth movement and animations. Hey, that ain't gonna stop me from backwards long jumping out of a fucking room. I won't lie, while I was in the sex dungeon when I was meant to be masturbating, I was like, woohoo, 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 trying to get out that fucking dungeon so fucking hard, motherfucker. There's still bits of the story we don't know about, and it's early access, but so far I know that is Fiona has to wear that necklace while still hiding it in the church. Wherever the fuck she's gonna hide that, she's gonna have to stick it up her fucking cooch, man, because to be honest with you, if that shit's glowing, she's gonna be walking around, her vagina's gonna be like, ooh. I also love the architecture and the statues around this game. It's some very sexy art. This is like horny oblivion. As you explore the town, you can also find these little scrolls with little bits of art on them. I'm hoping these scrolls actually go towards something like maybe skill points or some form of combat, which they did say that they were later promising in the game. I mean, why the fuck would you be lobbing around a sword if you ain't gonna fucking use it? I will say one of the other things that I didn't really like, and I'm hoping that they kind of improve on, is the fact that Darla can be seen anywhere in the scenes. I understand that Darla's meant to be in your head, so seeing her just sort of there in the environment doesn't really sort of add to the sort of magical idea that only you can see her. It'd be nice that as you're approaching a certain event where she's going to talk or listen to a certain conversation that you have, that maybe like a puff of smoke appears, and that's when you know that she's going to get involved in this particular situation, rather than her just being placed there for you to see a million miles away. Kind of adds to the sort of realism that she really is in your head. If you want to support Erokin, check it out here on Itch.io, or support him on Patreon. I'm Shades, and remember, you get what you pay for. Good night.
Ooh, that's hot!